And now we're living in a state where you don't want to, it's only been 7 weeks. The guy was president for 4 years and he got us $8.2 trillion in debt. How could you say that's not relevant, John, with respect?
7 weeks is nothing compared to a 4-year
I'm not talking
term.
about 7 weeks.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. It's going okay. A little frustrating, but it's going okay.
I just want to chime in a little bit. I'm not a big politician or into politics all that much. I'm just kind of a voice of reason. And I think that, everything you're saying about Donald Trump that's been proven, 100% true, whatever, his court document and all that.
Right.
But at the same time, you made a statement that what has Biden been charged with, that doesn't always mean somebody's innocent, right? Just because he's gotten away with it.
But John, what it does mean is that something was proven in a court of law, and I think there is some credibility to that, as opposed to somebody just making allegations that haven't been proven.
Right, but you can look at a statistic. You can pull up any statistic you'd like, and you'll see that the people that are found guilty versus people who get away with it, it's always going to be about 50-50.
Okay, I don't know. How did you come up with that statistic?
Look up the murder. Look up the murder charge.
What murder?
How many murders go? Look up how many murders go unsolved.
So Donald Trump hasn't been accused or convicted or charged with murder, and neither does Joe Biden.
No, it's just a general.
So we're talking about Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, and maybe you could tell me some credible things that people have said about Joe Biden that may or may not have been proven. I'm trying to stick to facts, John, with respect. And the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump was proven in a court of law that he was found liable for sexual abuse. So it's an issue of
sexual abuse, that's completely different, right? Let's talk about politics though, because personal lives, who knows? Politicians have secrets everywhere. So we can't sit here and because of what's been exposed versus what hasn't, that's all speculative.
Okay, I'm not speculating. Hold on. I'm not speculating, and while I agree with you that the economy is very important, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you, I'm not speculating when I say Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. I'm not speculating when a jury of his peers found that he was liable for sexual abuse. I'm not speculating when I say 25 women have made claims, allegedly, not proven in a courtroom, but 25 women have claimed that he is that he raped them or were victims of sexual abuse. So let's get to the economy.
Do you think being in that position doesn't put a target on your back, though?
A lot of these. Okay, so let's.
Everybody out here is just
So let's
not ill-willed.
Sure, fair point. So let's talk about that for a moment. Are you claiming because when Donald Trump got into politics, he was a target? Is that? I'm assuming that's the point you're making. Is that fair?
I'm saying, regardless, his stature, his status.
So Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is a billionaire, a self-made billionaire. Can you name me one woman that accused Mark Cuban of sexual abuse?
I'm sure if you look deep enough into it, there's somebody out there.
No, there's not. And Mark Cuban has never been found liable for sexual abuse. By the way, Donald Trump, his own ex-wife accused him of rape in a court deposition before he ever ran for office. So I think that's a very poor excuse. There's a lot of rich people in this country, and I can tell you a lot of those rich people were not on Jeffrey Epstein's flight log. A lot of those rich people Epstein didn't call their best friends. So with respect, sir, I disagree with you. But you mentioned the economy, and I'm happy, John, to have that conversation with you. What has Donald Trump done positively for the economy in the last 7 weeks?
Hey, that's okay. Like, let's be real, man. It's been 7 weeks.
Okay,
you can't even buy a property without,
gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Nope. Okay, fair enough.
How do you expect the economy to change?
Okay, so let's talk about Donald Trump the first 4 years in his first administration. When Donald Trump left office, the unemployment rate was higher than when he took office. There were people that were locked up in their rooms. 3,000 to 5,000 people lost their jobs, and we had one of the lowest unemployment rates in the history of this nation. Oh, yeah, he also got us $8.2 trillion in debt, more than any other living president in our lifetime. That's a 4-year window. What would you say to that 4-year window when we talk about the economy, sir?
I say that the economy was 100% stronger at the end of his term than in the beginning.
At the end of his term, the entire country was shut down. At the end of his term, unemployment rate was the worst it's been in the history of this country in my lifetime. At the end of his term, we were all locked up in our rooms and the country was shut down and we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day. How could you make the case that the economy was thriving at the end of his term when the entire country was shut down?
The entire world was shut down. So
well,
how is that at all fault of Donald Trump?
You just said the economy was thriving when he left office. You're the one making the argument, not me. You're the guy who just said that. You have to defend it.
we keep COVID out of the economy? That has nothing to do with the economy.
So hold on. Let me just get this right from this gentleman. John, I'm trying to be respectful to you, but it's going to be very hard when you make a statement like that. John, a MAGA supporter, which is fine, just said COVID has nothing to do with the economy. John, did I just get you right? Did you just say COVID has nothing, no direct correlation to the economy? Is that what you just said?
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, so John, I'm going to try to keep a straight face here, John, with respect, because I appreciate you calling in. You're saying when the country is locked down and we're losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID, businesses are being shut down, and you don't think any of that has any direct correlation to our economy?
What was Donald Trump supposed to do personally? Stop.
That is a different question. You said the economy was thriving when Donald Trump left office. I proved to you that it wasn't based on the numbers. And obviously COVID had a lot to do with that. And you just said COVID has nothing to do with the economy, which is an asinine thing to say, with all due respect, sir. I don't blame, and to answer your question now, I don't blame Donald Trump for COVID. I blame him for the handling of COVID. 15 cases down to 0. It's going to be gone by Easter. Talking about disinfectant. Using COVID press conferences as political rallies attacking Joe Biden. Sir, you seem like a nice guy. To say that COVID doesn't affect our economy, would you like to retract that statement? I will give you the opportunity. It affected the economy all over the world, in every country.
Look, this is what I'll do. COVID affected the economy to the fullest extent.
Thank you.
Now, where the economy was at prior to COVID, that's what you would have to really base it off.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I think that's very fair, John, and I appreciate you correcting the record with what you said. I do appreciate that. So, John, before COVID hit, the unemployment numbers were higher than when Joe Biden left office. Now, if you don't believe me, you can look at the Department of Labor and you can look that up for yourself. So with that being the case, would you give Joe Biden a little bit of credit for that? You can look that up, by the way, if you don't believe me. I work very hard to not try to make things up. Does that mean anything?
Man, I'm not going to say Joe Biden's term was completely useless. Like, it's not like that at all. All I'm saying is that Donald Trump, from a business, because America's a business, man. Like, I'm not saying that, he's so successful in the business game, but I'm saying we have to give it a chance to be run by somebody.
Okay, so for 4 years, fair enough, John, fair enough. I appreciate that. Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt in 4 years, more debt than any other president in my lifetime. Would you say that that's how you run a business? Getting us $8.2 trillion in debt? That was 4 years.
Isn't that the name of the game, man? Like, every year, money's always going to increase.
Wait, hold on.
Can't really...
So the name of the game is to get us in the most debt we've ever had in my lifetime? John, think about what you're saying for a moment. No, that's not the name of the game. The name of the game is what Bill Clinton did. He left us with a surplus. It's not the name of the game to get us in more debt. John, can we at least agree on that? That's not the name of the game.
Houses also cost $60,000 when Bill Clinton left office, so it's completely irrelevant.
It's very relevant. We had a president who left his term with a surplus. We had a president in Donald Trump who got us $8.2 trillion in debt. Obama didn't do that. Joe Biden didn't do that. Donald Trump got us in more debt than any living president. How could you say that's not relevant? You're saying he's this great businessman, which also I completely disagree with you on. And now we're living in a state where you don't want to, it's only been 7 weeks. The guy was president for 4 years and he got us $8.2 trillion in debt. How could you say that's not relevant, John, with respect?
7 weeks is nothing compared to a 4 year
I'm not talking about 7 weeks. I'm talking about 4 years. You made that argument, and I could disagree with you and say the 25% tariffs are ruining the economy. Unemployment is up since he took office. Inflation is up since he took office. People are getting laid off left and right. So I can make the argument that I disagree with you, but I'm putting that aside, John. I'm trying to tell you that the guy was president for 4 years, and he got us more in debt than any other president, and you're saying that's irrelevant. So which is it? A president getting us in debt is not relevant? Is that what you're saying? That's the name of the game?
Riddle me this. Did we start off at zero debt when he got in, or did we just increase the debt that we were already in?
Okay, I will do it, but I won't riddle it for you because I'm not good at riddles, John. So Barack Obama left us with a thriving economy. Take a look at the numbers. I'll riddle you that Bill Clinton left us with a surplus. George W. Bush got us in an ill-advised war and ruined the economy based on every standard and every number. Barack Obama in 8 years turned the economy around, left Donald Trump with a thriving economy. At the end of Trump's administration, where you said the economy was thriving, which is unbelievably and factually inaccurate, Joe Biden had to pick up the pieces. We had the lowest unemployment rate we had in 50 years. We had the CHIPS and Science Act. We had the bipartisan infrastructure bill. We had bipartisan gun legislation that was passed, the most in decades. By the way, Donald Trump said he would pass that bipartisan infrastructure bill. He wasn't able to do so. We had insulin capped at $35 for Plan A and Plan D, where millions of more Americans were getting their insulin capped at $35. Donald Trump just signed an executive order not allowing those millions of Americans to get their insulin capped at $35. We have a 4-year window. Forget about the first 7 weeks. We have a 4-year window where I've proven to you that Donald Trump taked our economy. The handling of COVID was an F minus. What did he do that you would brag about? And what has he done in the first 7 weeks that you think is good? Do you think it's good that so many undocumented immigrants that are not violent, that pay their taxes, are getting deported? Do you think it's good that all these government workers are losing their jobs, so many of them that happen to be veterans? Do you think it's good that the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% are going to thrive the economy? Do you think that's good for the economy, John?
I don't. I really don't.
You know what? We finally got somewhere, John, and I appreciate your honesty, my friend.